Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh. Hello, this is Grant speaking, who is Jehovah. Grant has explained in previous videos many times, and he is back to record another video. He refers to himself in the third person. It has been explained before, but it has to do with witchcraft. The tricky nature of the English language. So, this is a video just to speak about some ideas. Grant has learnt about some things, has been studying some things, and wants to make a note of it. So, the first thing Grant said was Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh. Hopefully that's been pronounced correctly. But it means I am that I am. It means I am that I am. Or some would translate it, I am who I am. And the quote comes from Exodus 3:14, from the Masoretic texts, it would seem. So it's interesting because Ehyeh is spelled Ehyeh, and it's supposed to mean I am. If you notice, it has an EYE in the transliterated word, Ehyeh. 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 It's a very interesting translation. If Grant has spoken about the third eye, or the third eye. Third eye. So the translation is I am that I am. That is in the middle of Ehyeh, and the other it's located in the center. That is in the center. And in magic, it's very... So if you have a middle name, that name in terms of magic corresponds to your third eye, essentially. Kind of like, if you think of a famous person such as Rihanna, who's a Freemason. Freemasonry. Do you know who Mary is? Mariana. You know the Mariana Trench. Ariana. Rihanna. Rihanna's. Yeah, it's hard explaining this. It's the magic. Grant's explained it so many times. Wow. Yeah, it's an awkward one. Anunnaki, Anu the Sky Father, Sphinx, Pyramid, Pie in the sky? What's a pie? Pie, circles, Kirkle. If you didn't say cha you would say ka, wouldn't you? You would say Kirk. Kirkle. Kirkley. A Kirkley. What's a Kirkley? A church. Well, church. Captain Kirk. Oh, Star Trek. Oh, you looking for a star? Star, star, star. Star Wars. Blah, 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 blah. Witchcraft, witchcraft, witchcraft. So, Grant wanted to talk about some very interesting things. So, what is the Codex Vaticanus? And who is Vatica? Vatica is apparently she was worshipped as the goddess of the underworld by the Etruscans. So, where does the word Vatican come from? And why would the Codex Vaticanus be called the Codex Vaticanus? Vaticanus. Vaticanus. If you've never listened to Grant's videos before, you're probably wondering what the hell is he talking about? Why is he so anal about things? Well, it all has to do with witchcraft and magic, and Jesus was quoted as being the Son of God. What is the sun? The sun is a star. Yeah. Well, Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh. I am that I am. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because Jesus said ego, or something in Aramaic, or yeah. So he spoke in either Greek, Aramaic, or perhaps Hebrew, maybe. But he definitely didn't speak English. He definitely didn't say I am, did he? No. You see, back there, between the cheeks, the other cheeks, not these cheeks, yeah, the other cheeks, turn the other cheek. Funny that, isn't it? Isn't it interesting how people call that a cheek, and then you have butt cheeks, right? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that weird? Pineal gland. Pi, circle. Is circle. Pi, kneel. When someone gets down on their knees, they bend over. Oh, look, a circle. The third eye. The third eye. The Trinity is composed of three. Three. What does an eye look like? The letter I. Yeah, that's one. There's two. And there's three. 3 eyes. Everyone wants to talk about their third eye. Or they want to open their third eye. Yeah. Why do people do the things that they do? It's because of foul spirits influencing people to do witchcraft, which is fighting God. It's stealing God's energy through mimicry, mimicking God, trying to camouflage. People try to camouflage themselves. They try to pass themselves off as God, and they're not even conscious of it. Grant has spoken about this at length for hours and hours and hours, many, many videos, for years and years and years. And anyway, let's move on with the things that Grant has discovered. So we talked about Codex Vaticanus. Let's talk about, so in the book of Revelation, it talks about one like the Son of Man standing on Mount Sion, and it talks about the 144,000 virgins. Isn't it interesting? Virgins. That's interesting, isn't it? Because people, the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholics, they like to worship Mary, the Virgin Mary. So if let's say you worship the Virgin Mary, does that make you virgins? Does it? It's a good question though, isn't it? In terms of magic, perhaps it does. If you genuinely profess that she is a virgin, even though, that she, that's something that never ended, even after she had sex, she was still a virgin. Nah, but they, that's what people do. That's what the Roman Catholics are crazy, absolutely crazy. The vast majority of them, yeah, you'd have to be to go to a place like that. It's full of witchcraft. You think how many, they mixed it with paganism, and they use, they worship the apostles, the disciples, as if they're gods, as if they are, it's like, they just changed the names over from their Roman deities and just changed them to the name of the disciples, essentially. And they worship Mary. They put Mary as their number one, it seems. And she's the whore of Babylon. She really is the whore of Babylon. That's no joke. That's absolutely 100% truth. There's no other way about it. There's no other way about it. Grant knows. Grant knows. She's a jealous whore and an evil one too. She is responsible for a lot of evil in this world. A lot of it. Very evil, very dark things. Like she didn't get what she wanted, so she decided to go, or she went completely down the evil path and decided that that was the path she was going to go down. She wanted to destroy and, kind of like what happens when someone decides to go on a, like a murdering spree. That's what happens. People do, they snap and they go crazy, and then real bad stuff happens. And that's what happened to her. That's what happened to Mary. The Virgin Mary, who's not a virgin. She's a liar. Well, she was a virgin when she gave birth to Jesus. But she's a whore. She's a filthy whore. And she hates God. Because God gets what he wants. And she wanted to get what she wanted, but, she didn't like that. She wasn't going to get what she felt jealous. And that was it. So, yeah, that's how it is. So let's talk about this 144,000. So, isn't it interesting that, so to understand magic, you have to understand numbers and words and the power of words. So, this is an interesting puzzle. 144,000, and it's 12,000 from each tribe, from 12 different tribes. Okay? It lists 12 different tribes. So, isn't it interesting? So you have the, so 144, ADD, add, thou, sand. Okay? The numeric A is 1, D is 4, ADD, thou, sand. You know what God said to Abraham about the grains of sand on the sea. Okay? About how his ancestors, his descendants would be like the grains of sand on a beach, on the beaches. So, do not quote what Grant is saying as exact. Okay? I mean, Grant wants to point out, so there's the Septuagint, okay, which is the Greek Old Testament, okay. So in the New Testament, the Jesus and the disciples, they quoted from the Greek Old Testament. So they were quoting Greek. Pretty much everyone agrees that's the case. So isn't it interesting that everyone favors the Masoretic texts that were given to them way after the Greek Old Testament was known about? They decided that they would take the Masoretic. Isn't it interesting, that word? Ma means mother, right? Masoretic. So these were Masoretes from Masorete, something like that. Masorete is the word, right? It comes from the word bond. It means bond. Isn't that interesting? So, you think of bondage, you think of Egypt, you think of bondage. Yeah, bondage. Yeah, how do you enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods? How do you get into a strong man's house and rob him of everything he has? Well, you bind him first, don't you? So, you get your Bible, you get your Bible, yeah? You're not supposed to worship the bull, but, you buy your bull, or Bible, or whatever it is, right? Which has its pages. You have your Masoretic texts that were given to you by a bunch of Jesus haters. Yeah, let's put it that way. Yeah. Well, you think about it, yeah. Who were they? No, they Pharisee. Who were the Pharisees? Yeah. I mean, Jesus says those people are of the devil. Don't trust them. And you take your text from them and be like, yeah, we prefer the Hebrew because we took it from a bunch of people who are supposed to be chosen by God. So whatever they say is infallible. Blah 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 blah. No, that's not how it works. But well, that's very wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. I mean, they're a bunch of Jesus haters. There's something there that needs to be investigated that people haven't investigated, perhaps. Interesting though, isn't it? Interesting. So what's wrong with the Greek Old Testament, the Septuagint? It's interesting. They say it was a letter that said it was translated by 72 translators, and it was 6 translators from every tribe. Isn't that interesting? Because 72 is half of 144. And 6 is half the number of 12. So, isn't that interesting? Why would that be the case? It all has to do with magic. It all has to do with magic. It is. It has to do with magic. See, thou sand. Okay, so thou sand. Well, if you're sand, then you are made of physical earth material, aren't you? Essentially. You know, what is sand? It's like broken rocks and stone, you know, bits of shells or whatever it is, right? It's whatever's washed up on the beach, right? Sand. You get different types of sand. Yeah. So sand is another. Well, it's not quite earth or soil. The thing is about sand is it's on the coastline, so it's where the water meets the earth. It's between the earth and the water. It's that middle ground. It's the middle ground between. You know what I mean? It's the sand. That's where the sand is. It's between the water and the earth, the soil. Okay, because you don't have plants. Well, you don't. You know what I mean? You don't have plants growing out of the beach sand, do you? No, that's not where it grows. Yeah. Anyway. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's interesting. Marriage. It's magic. It has to do with magic. Excuse him. Excuse Grant. One moment. What else can we talk about? So there are, and that's the other thing, right? So in the book of Revelation, I think it's chapter 10, it's chapter 11, and it says, John, he says, and a reed like unto a rod was given to him. A reed like unto a rod. And you know, you throughout the Bible it talks about, Grant does not like the word Bible. Where the heck did that word come from? The scriptures, the New Testament. Okay. You hear about ruling with a rod of iron. What kind of thing would someone rule with? Well, if you think about a lot of kings, you'll see them with their scepters. They carry, you know, they have a scepter. Scepter. So you have Septuagint, which is something that you read, and it sounds very similar to scepter. Septer. Well, that's the thing, right? So if you have a tear in your third eye, it's split in two. So the 144 thou sand is now 72. Jesus said that he's the Son of God. The sun is a star. The star, the part of the body that looks like a star, is the sphincter. Yeah? Sounds crazy. Yeah, it does. But magic is very interesting, and it is in the place that you would least expect Isn't it interesting how the truth can be found in the most unlikely place that the last place you would expect to find it? Well, well, think about it. Okay, you have the Anunnaki and Anu, the Sky Father. Grant was reading the first book, the first chapter of Genesis again, the creation account. It's the way it's written. It's very interesting. I mean, it sort of reminded Grant of when he went to go take a dump. It's like there was darkness on the face of the deep. It was dark. But then there was light. It's the thing is, it's so open to interpretation. That's the thing about the entire scriptures. It's written in parables and riddles, and well, it reads like it's a puzzle. It's written as a puzzle. It is a puzzle. The reason it's written in such a way is because it's a book of magic. It's all magic. It's interesting because people talk about manifestation. People manifest. People want to speak things and manifest things. They try to speak their words and try to manifest things into reality. That is what God did. Is it not? Is that not right? Because he spoke things into existence. John, in the book of John, he talks about the Word and how the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word is God. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because people call God the Logos. And what does Logos mean? Well, it means the Word. It means, and also you have all those brands, you like Coca-Cola, and a bit of, what else do you have? Acer, computer, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Apple's an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah. So, where was Grant going with this? That's the question. Where's he going now? So in the book of Revelation, John. No, wait, hang on. Moving on. No. Okay. Isn't it interesting? So, in the book of Revelation, chapter 10, perhaps I think it's chapter 10. He talks about John. He sees the angel, and the angel has a small scroll in his hand, and the angel says, "Eat it up, and it will be in thy mouth sweet as honey, but in your stomach it will be bitter." Yeah, it's a very interesting one, that this phone that Grant is recording this video on It's a Samsung Galaxy Fold. Samsung or Samson. You know who Samson is? You know, sun and sun, S-U-N, it's pronounced exactly the same, isn't it? Samson. What happened to him? He fought the lion. The lion was trying to eat him, right? You could say. He killed the lion, and he came back to the lion. He found the dead lion's body, and it had honey inside of the lion. It's very interesting how much magic has been done around the text of the Bible. Because they are magic, it has power that everyone is trying to leech off of. You know, they all want to be God. Or you see, if you're evil and you're influenced by evil spirits, they are trying to get you to feed off that energy. And you're attacking God when you do that. That's why all this weird, this is how the world works. This is how, it's like the story of Adam and Eve. They decided they wanted to be God. So they did that thing, you know, they ate the forbidden fruit. And then they were cast out. And everyone in this world is in a fallen state, essentially. Grant was listening to a video of Stephen Fry the other day, and he's like, why would God, and he said, you know, he basically says he hates God, and, you know, he has to see God, you know, children, he has to see people die of horrible things, and how he thinks it's horribly unjust and unfair. And the thing is that evil people have done these things to themselves. They decided to attack God, and God had to kick them out and say, well, you know, you did the thing that you were told not to do. You were told if you did that thing, you were going to die. And people have to pay the price for their bad mistakes. And of course what they'll do is they'll blame it on God, because rather than accept responsibility for what they've done to themselves. It really is that simple. But this is the other thing, right? Isn't it interesting? So God says that Archangel Michael sits at his right hand. So, isn't it interesting that if you sit in front of a computer, as Grant is sitting in front of his computer right now, he has a computer mouse. What's the plural of mice? Well, what's the plural of mouse? It's mice. Or if you could pronounce it Mickey. Mickey Mouse. Who knows what Mickey Mouse is? Yeah? Mickey Mouse. What's Mickey short for? Michael. Yeah. Michael. Isn't it interesting? And it moves the cursor on your screen. What's a curse? Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? So it's interesting. Grant watched the Tarot Reader probably 2 months ago, and she's got a tattoo on her right hand, and it says Michael on her right hand. She's a witch. She's a witch. Why else would she have Michael tattooed on her right hand? Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Another thing, Grant was mentioning about Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh. Interesting, if you understand numerology, numerology, if you with that transliteration, you have Ehyeh. That adds, in numerology, it's a 6. Asher is 6, and Ehyeh is 6. So you have 666. Yeah, Asher, ass her, Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? Ass her. Well, it's Mary. It's the serpent. It's where it lives. This dusty serpent is where it lives. It lives in ass. Grass ass. Because why? Why would that be? Well, because it's the star. It's the star. It's the bit that shines. So what does the evil one do? The evil one gets in the way, gets close to that source, that star, and then stands in front of it and says, "No, I'm the star. I am the light of the world. I." How many eyes do you have? Is it one eye? Or is it 2 eye? Isn't it interesting that people go around saying, I. They have no understanding of the magic that is happening when they use that word. Isn't it interesting that before people called Jesus, Jesus, they said, well, what was it? What did he used to be called? Was it Jesus? Iesus? Iesous? 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 What does IE mean? Yeah, IE, so us. G is us. G is us. We're covered in the blood of Jesus. I.e., so us. Yeah, no, people were told, put on the armor of God. You see, when you put on the armor of God, you're essentially putting on, people were, it's a clue. People were told, well, that's the thing, it acts like a camouflage. God doesn't mind sharing some power with people. Those who love him, he doesn't mind he wants to protect those he loves, and he enables them to, acquire power through magical words. It's just that people weren't informed of exactly how all that works. God can look at people and can tell how evil they are by the actions and things that they do, who they're influenced by. They are constantly trying to acquire power from God, even though they hate God. Everyone's doing magic all the time. And some are better or worse, if you want, at doing magic. Some have acquired more power than others. Take a look at Freemasons. The most rich, most powerful people in the world. They all do witchcraft. Who do they worship? Which god do they worship? Which one? Which? Yeah, the world is, there are lots of evil spirits conspiring. And they build, they all try to build their ladder to heaven. And they try to do evil magic against God to bring him down. So it's all about bringing God down as low as possible and elevating themselves as high as possible. And there is a day when that will flip and they'll find themselves buried. And that'll be it. That will be it, because God figured out what they were doing. Plain simple. So, Vaticanus. 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 Where does the word... Why would they call the Vatican the Vatican? Where does that word come from? There's no other explanation for where that word comes from. It's the nonsense that Roman Catholics speak it's just complete nonsense. Isn't it interesting they have Catholic nuns? What's a nun? Hey, we all came from nothing, yo. We all came from nothing. None. Zilch. Zero. Yeah. Yeah, Graham was listening to a video earlier about someone talking about buying a new book, a Bible, and how they were going to purchase it on Lulu. Sounds, this is, Grant started to laugh. He was like, so you're going to go buy yourself a Bible from the toilet, are you? It's weird, that, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? It's very strange. People have no idea of the things. They're so clueless. It sounds ridiculous. Anyone who listened to this would think, wow, what a crazy guy. But it won't sound crazy when it's all done and done, you know. You know, what is snake like? And dusty. Yeah. And what is everyone so obsessed with? You know, they're obsessed with anal sex and bondage. Isn't that interesting, huh? Interesting. Asterisk. What's an asterisk? Yeah? What's that? Mark of the beast. If you understand what tarot is, the Hierophant is the fifth card. The fifth card. And is the card that's considered the religious card. It's the High Priest. You know, sometimes he's referred to as the Pope or the Papa. Hierophant, High Priest. He has a scepter, and underneath his feet he has 2 keys in a cross. It's interesting because the Holy See is represented by 2 keys in a cross. Well, it's something like that. The Roman Catholic Holy See. Yeah. What's a hole? You know, you look at a hole, you see, you Holy See? Holy See. I mean, you think about all the things people say, you know, they're like, holy shit, holy crap, holy smokes, holy this, that, and the other. Ehyeh Dana Housen. That is Mary. She's dead. In more than one way. Very evil. And she's the whore of Babylon. Essentially, yeah. They're so difficult explaining so people can understand. Do you understand? No, we don't understand. You stand underneath first. Yeah. Oh, so you overstand. Okay. Okay. Evil language. Evil language. Mm-hmm. See, the thing about Mary is what she did was she used her foul spirits and she used witchcraft to fool most people on planet Earth to draw as much of their worship towards her. And that was her attack on God. And people are attracted to it like shit is attracted, like flies are attracted to shit. Essentially. Yeah. Sad but true. Sad but true. So that's the thing Grant was going to mention about the Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh. It's Exodus 3:14. 3:13.14 is the number of pi, which is used to represent circles. Pi. So this is the thing. Jesus came into the world. The Son of God. The Sun. The star. You have the Holy Spirit. Whole. Yeah? What's a whole? Listen. It all has to do with magic. Jesus understood that manifestation is a real thing. And he knew that his powers of manifest, he was the master manifester. He realized that. Grant was reading just the other day, people were talking about when the disciples spoke to Jesus and asked him about the return of Elijah. And they said, and people thought, oh well, it was John the Baptist. And the disciples, they thought he meant John the Baptist, and what he said, and he says if you're willing to receive it. So he said that the prophecies and the laws of the Old Testament ended with John the Baptist, and if ye are willing to receive it, he is Elijah who has come. So what he really means, what he really meant back then, was that the words of the Old Testament work like manifestations. They manifest. And because Jesus, being the master manifester, essentially, he just drew a line and just said, that ends with John the Baptist. And moving on. That's how that is essentially, that may not be absolutely 100% correct, but Grant is just trying to explain this is essentially what seems to be going on. This is how the world works. It's magic. People manifest. Jesus was the most powerful manifester. This is the thing, our word, art, all have certain power. The Bible, well, the scriptures, the Old Testament, New Testament, specifically the New Testament. Okay, New Testament, very powerful. The words of Jesus, very powerful. Manifest, the words affect everything in the world, whether people agree with whether people agree with the gospel accounts or not. It doesn't matter. Those words are extremely powerful. The scriptures are very powerful. That really is how it is. It's a very, very complicated puzzle. Very complicated. This is the thing. Grant was talking about computer mice. What does a mouse have? It has a scroll wheel. If you know anything about tarot, there is the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune. See, tarot, it's all about sex magic, and specifically anal sex magic. So you have the Hanged Man, which is card number 12, which is the reverse of 21, which is the world. So the world in reverse is the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man, what's he? So a hanged person has a noose. So they have a noose around them. A noose has to do with sex magic. Okay, death, which is the card that's right, which is number 13, is a Scorpio card. Okay, so it's death riding a horse. A scorpion has a sting in the tail. Okay, so anal sex is because of it's essentially, it's kind of like death, in a sense. It's sex magic, and it's an attack on God, essentially. That's what people do. It's it's bad. You have the wheats and the tares. Okay? Parable of the wheat and the tares. The lake of fire. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. It's getting hot. Turn the other cheek. Star. Yeah, Grant recently found out what a stele is. A stele, it's like, they used to use it thousands of years ago. They would write on these stone slabs, and they were called steles. Steles, or steles. In Italian, what's a stele? It's a star. Rocks. Yeah, there we go. Star. Isn't it interesting? Everyone wants to worship rock stars, as if that's the thing. You have the moon, which is a big rock. Yeah, it reflects the light of a star called the sun. So it's the moon. Moon? You know, what's a moonie? Yeah, what's the star? The star, the moon, the sun, the light. You know, people, you know, in the Bible, you have, you know, it says, I am the light of the world. Yeah, isn't it interesting? In the Greek, I am is ego. Ego. How many times is, you know, someone farted and it's like, oh, it smells like eggs. It smells like rotten eggs. Yeah, ego. Ego. Yeah. It's because of the, well, I suppose it's like the sulfur. It's got something to do with salt, yeah. Sulfur. Ego. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ever heard of the serpent and the cosmic egg? The snake and the cosmic egg? It's used in, you know, it's talked about in witchcraft a lot. Yeah. Ego. Yeah. What else? What else? What else? What else? um. Oh yeah. There's a translation of the Septuagint, and it's called the Lexham English Septuagint, and that's abbreviated to LES. Les. Grant's mother was a lesbian. Yeah, she was a lesbian. In this body of Grant's, this body Grant came out of a woman 36 years ago, and her name was Fee, which is short for Fiona. So there was Fee, and she had a male. Female. And people wonder why so many people have sex changes or are gender fluid. You know, they want to have all the pronouns. Why would someone want to be called by lots of different pronouns? Well, it's because the words have power. You know. We. Jesus. You know, who was the? Remember there was a goddess called Isis. 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 Yeah. And what about, you know, you have the god in Greek mythology called Osiris. Os, Iris. Iris is what you have in your eyeball. Yeah, and who was Baal? Baal? Football? Yeah. Footstool? What's stool? Stool is shit, isn't it? Bar stool? Footstool? Footstool's mentioned. You know, God says He'll make the earth His footstool. Right? You know, you have the serpent's head will be crushed by the heel, you know, and you know, the serpent will strike the heel of, you know, will strike his heel or her heel. W, what's a W? It's like that, right? It's the shape of a butt. W, heel, wheel. It's like saying, you know, what's behind you and what's in the past. The past and what's behind you are different things, but they have an overlap in meaning. They can mean the same thing. People talk about, oh, that's behind you. You don't need to worry about that anymore. That's behind you. Yeah. But that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Because what's behind you can be in the present. Or it could be in the past. You know what I'm saying? You know what I am saying? I is a really tricky word. Such bad magic. I browse. Who browses the internet these days? Huh? On their ass's screen. Yeah. I scream. This world is so evil. It's crazy. Eve ill. Yeah, she's sick. She's a sick bitch, right? Eve sick. Eve ill. The complete opposite of Liv, right? Well, whatever happened to her. Maybe she figured, yeah. Well, there we go. Yeah. Grant hasn't had the opportunity to contact every single dead spirit there is, Just some. Just some. But yeah. Just. That's another annoying word as well. It is a very annoying word. Just. What else can we talk about? What else can we talk about? So, the witchcraft is so crazy that it's hard to explain. Grant understands lots. Way more than he could possibly explain to anybody, because people would be like, what? What the fuck are you talking about, man? You must be crazy. Are you crazy? So the small scroll, yeah, Vaticanus is an interesting one. Yeah. Sweet like honey, but bitter. Bitter. Yeah. Tangy maybe? Yikes. It's crazy to think that this entire world revolves, well, this entire world is, it's all controlled through butt magic, anal magic, crap magic, shit magic. Essentially, it is. It's crazy, but it's true. What do you think about it? The Illuminati. Illuminate eye. What is the eye? You know, you have the Freemason Eye of Providence. Go look at a symbol of the eye, the all-seeing eye, Eye of Providence. You'll notice that it's an eyeball, and then it has all these ray lines coming out of it, as if it looks like an actual sphincter. You know, go look at the Sphinx. Yeah. So if Sphinx, right? Let's say, you know, yeah. So let's say a sphincter is torn. Then, you know, so sphincter. And then you have that, what's in Egypt, you have Sphinx. So, you know, sphincter. And now he's now, you know, so if someone tears it, does he then become, or does she then become Sphinx? Who's Sphinx? You know, what's a pyramid? Pi, Ra, you know, the sun god Ra, Mid. Pi, Ra, Mid. Why would they build a pyramid for? So they go inside the pyramid, they have all the different tunnels, and that's where they bury, you know, and they put all their stuff. So what they're doing, it's a type of, it's evil magic aimed at, it's an attack on God, essentially. It's yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it looks like to Grant. That's what Grant thinks. Yeah. Yeah, there's the other thing. So in the book of Revelation, it talks about the dragon and the woman. You know, a great sign appeared in heaven. You know, of a woman with a crown of 12 stars around her head and the moon under her feet. The moon under her feet. Does it mean it's under her feet? Or does it mean that the moon that's under is her feet? You know, that's the tricky thing about the English language. You have to look at it very, very carefully. What does it really mean? Just because people interpret it a certain way and they go, well, you need to have context. Yeah, people are stupid. People have no idea of what they're looking at. They have none at all. It's absolutely nuts. Nut. Who's nut? Oh yeah, okay. Nuts. Are you nuts? Yeah, no, yeah. Are you happy? Yeah, you know, there's that Egyptian god called Happy. Happy. Anyways, so there's the dragon, and it sends out a flood of water out of its mouth after the woman, and the woman runs away with the man-child into the wilderness. So a lot of people think that that's talking about Mary, and a lot of people think, well, you know, that's the thing. It's left ambiguous. It's just, well, it's not explained who it is because it's a magic story, and it fits in different places. So it can fit with the story of Mary. It can fit with other people as well. That's how it works. Because if it was very specific about who it was talking about, it wouldn't have the same magical implications. That's why it has to have, it has to be vague in certain ways. But that's the thing. It's a puzzle as well. So the wilderness was a dry place, right? So you had the the Israelites who were in the wilderness. It was a dry place. There wasn't very much water. And what happened when Jesus was born? Well, Mary, Joseph, Jesus, they had to escape and they had to go to Egypt because of King Herod, right? So, because he wanted to kill he was trying to kill lots of young children. Yeah, so there was the escape to Egypt. Egypt represents bondage. That's what it represents, bondage. Yeah. It's interesting how humans are so obsessed. How some people are so obsessed with their, they have their sexual desires, and how they, and not only that, but everything they do in their life, every word that comes out of their mouths, all the actions they do, they don't really know why they do things. They don't really know. I mean, isn't it possible for someone just to say, well, wouldn't it be better just to go to heaven and just, all those sexual desires, why not just forget about them and just know that you'll be a lot happier, loving God and, going to heaven. Why not do it that way? Grant used to think, before he knew he was God, before he knew he was Jehovah, before he knew he was the second coming of Jesus, Grant used to think, when Grant first started reading the Bible, Grant had a lot of sexual desires. And Grant thought to himself, he wondered, he's like, do people have sex in heaven? Or, does, what's, is that only for people who are on planet Earth? And Grant just thought to himself, well, surely if you go to heaven, you wouldn't have a desire for having, if you're not supposed to have sex, then chances are you wouldn't even have a desire to have sex. Would you? I mean, it doesn't even make much sense, really, does it? I mean, it's like an addiction. It's like just something you have to overcome. Oh, I'm overcoming. What does, how, oh, congratulations, you've overcome. Oh, well then. Yeah. You hear what Grant's saying? How sick and twisted the world is. What was the Tower of Babel story all about? Well, it's all about language and the fact that people like to build towers. They want to build their tower all the way up to heaven. They want to climb that tower. They want to get to heaven without doing what they were meant to do. And they do it through evil magic. And that includes words. God confused people's languages in order to stop people from doing what they were doing. But people still do what they do. And they still try. They still try. The evil spirits still want to get to where they want, None of the evil spirits want to burn in the lake of fire forever and ever, do they? They will just keep fighting until they end up where they belong. End up. Isn't that interesting? End up where they belong. Yeah, no, and down. It's interesting. Grant was looking at all these churches and learning about what's under churches. You have crypts, and what else are they called? You got catacombs, and learning about all these catacombs and stuff. It's like under Paris, you've got like millions of dead skeletons. You've got skeletons, just skeletons and skeletons and skeletons, and there's like the Chapel of Bones or something like that. Chapel of Bones. Somewhere there's like I don't know, there's quite a few. Anyway, the fact is that and all these people, they want to be, when they die, they want to be buried under the church. They want to have their remains put under the church. And then you think about all the artwork of where it's like a depiction of heaven, earth, and hell. So it'll be, you know, heaven at the top, and then it'll be the earth in the middle where you got people going to church, and then right underneath the church you've got hell. And then all these people want to get themselves buried under the church. It's like they're just putting themselves. It just, you know, they don't understand the power of their art. They don't understand that all this evil stuff happens. They don't even know. People have no, or so unconscious. They're not, totally unconscious of what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing to themselves. They think that, yeah, it's terrible. It's really bad. Like what people do. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You know, Grant years ago, he had no idea about any of it, of this stuff. None of it at all. He had to learn it because of who he is. He just, you know, every day you turn on the television and just realize, like, why are all these people talking about what's happening in my life? You know, why are all these people, you know, it's like they're all spying on me but pretending like I don't exist at the same time. It's like, what the fuck's going on? it's like, oh, why is this war starting? Because you know, it's awful. It's really awful. Grant has to watch the most horrible things happen in the world, knowing that he's very strongly connected to that thing. You know, people die, wars start, and you know, Grant's so used to it now. It's like, it's, you know, but it was shocking, really shocking. You know, when you hear about, yeah, I mean, Grant doesn't even want to say, like, literally everything is connected to him, everything, because he's God. It's plain and simple. Like when World War III starts, it's because of Grant. You know, when, you know, some poor kid dies by his insane parents, well, it has to, you know, it's connected because the evil spirits don't want Grant to be known about. And so they do their witchcraft. And there are casualties when that stuff happens. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. Grant wants it to stop. Grant wants the world to snap out of it. Grant wants the world to pay attention to him. But what do people do? They laugh and they mock instead. Blah, blah, blah. Well, they can keep doing it. You know, people will do it and they'll keep doing it until the day they can't do it anymore. And that's it. No more. They've run out of time. And that day is fast approaching. Very fast. Grant is... It's not going to be long now. It's going to be interesting. People are going to look back on all the videos Grant spoke about. All these videos that Grant has done. Yeah, people will flock to YouTube and they'll be watching Grant's videos of him explaining all this stuff. And they'll wonder, wow. They'll be like, wow, he does sound... But he's God, so... Yeah, better not call him a madman. Even though he is very pissed off. You're a madman. You're mad. You must be crazy. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? How, yeah, the English language is just so crazy. Hello. Hi. Yeah. Grant had a lot to talk about. He seems to have just completely lost track of what he's going to talk about. What was he going to talk about? Well, Hmm. It's interesting how everyone talks about the Antichrist, the beast and the beast system. Oh, there's the mark of the beast. Okay, so, um, you know, no one will be able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast. It's interesting. I mean, this is how magic works. This is quite a good example. So in the United Kingdom, where Grant lives, who's God, who's Jehovah, you go to a shop, you buy a product, they scan the barcode, and on the barcode it has 666 on the barcode. It has, well, it doesn't specifically, they don't write 666, but it has like 3 breakers in the barcode at the beginning, the middle, and the end, and those lines represent sixes. So there's 3 sixes in the barcode. And you also have, and then you have tax. Okay, so anything you buy in the UK, you have VAT. VAT. Isn't that interesting? Vatican? VAT? So VAT is 20% tax. And that's 20%. Yeah, so it's 20% tax on everything you buy in the United Kingdom. And tax in numerology, so you have T, which is 20, which is 2. Then you have A, which is 1. Then you have X, which is 6, because X is 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. So you have 2, 1, 6. 2, 1, 6. 6 times 6 times 6 is 260. So, it's not really. You could think, oh wow, that's the mark of the beast, but is it really the mark? Is it the real mark of the beast? That's what you really need to understand. So obviously, when God is known by people, and people are like, whoa, this guy's God. Uh-oh. And God is like, well, you're a bunch of shitheads. Yeah, so you better worship me. If you don't, then you can just bugger off and die, I suppose. Yeah. Well, it'll be something like that, right? It'll be something like that. Yeah, and then you'll know what the real mark of the beast is. When God says, yeah, you people, if you worship me, you may buy your food at the supermarket. But if you don't worship me, well, tough luck. Find, go live in the woods. See if you can feed yourself. Yeah, go see if you can survive on your own. Yeah, it'll be something like that. Maybe. Possibly. Yeah. It's interesting because, if you flip 666 upside down and back to front, you get 999, which is I. The 9th letter is I. So you have I, which is 3 eyes. So in first person, if you're talking about yourself in the first person, you say I. You have the Trinity, that's Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Yeah. Although, if let's say you had a father and a grandfather with exactly the same name as you know, or for instance, and you were called the third, yeah? So that you have, well, for instance, you have King Charles the Third, or King Charles the Third. And what is the third represented with? I. Roman numerals. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that humans have tried to use magic to reduce gods to a pile of shit? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that fascinating? While everyone wants to elevate themselves and be stars. You know, if the butthole is a star, it makes the shit. It makes the turd. Yeah? So, you see how humans try to flip the script on God? They want God to be, they want humans, even though they're completely unconscious, most are unconscious unless, well, Freemasons and evil witchcraft practitioners, yeah, they may not be 100% conscious of what they're doing, but they are on that path of learning that stuff. You know, they're saying that they don't love God and that they want to be God. I mean, what is witchcraft? Witchcraft is just trying to acquire God's powers. That's really all it is. And there is only one who is God. That is me. What's a Mimi? What's a Mimi? Yeah. Praise cake? Yeah. The Frogman? Ribbit? Parlez-vous français? Non? Au revoir, s'il vous plaît. We are living in the end times. Yeah, I think it's the end timies. End timies? Isn't it interesting? Everyone wants to, yeah. In the end, tie me. In the end, tie me. Oh, it's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. It's interesting though, like, you see, the thing is that Grant used to look at things and he used to think, wow, that's a strange coincidence. What's going on? You know, I never even asked, you just stand there, just look in amazement, like, what is this? Like, what the fuck? Why is life so strange? Why is life so strange? But eventually, you know, he started thinking, you know, Grant just didn't believe that things are down to coincidence. It's like, yeah, that's not a coincidence. When everything is statistically pointing to the fact that no, it's not a coincidence. You know, you can't say every single little thing is a coincidence. You know, you couldn't just say like everything that ever happened in your it was a coincidence. No. It's like saying that this planet existed because of a cold, like if you look at science, I mean, it's, the probability of planet Earth forming and everything like that, that's where Grant started. He looked at science, and just, he listened to Hugh Ross, a cosmologist, and listened to it, and it was like, yeah, that's really interesting. Like, how is it possible? I mean, the odds of human life existing on this planet is so minuscule. There's no doubt, like, there has to be God. God has to exist. There's no other way. No. No, there's another tricky word, isn't it? No. Do you know? No. No? Do you know? Do you know what I mean? No. How do you enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods? First, you bind him. So when people say to Grant, you are not God. Ha 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 ha. It's a funny joke, isn't it? See what the evil demons that speak to you, they know what's happened. They know this is God. They just know that he's been bound through witchcraft, and that eventually he'll break free of it. And those evil demons, well, guess where they're going? Lake of Fire. The Lake of Fire. Yeah. Drag queens, drag racing, having a drag. Yeah. 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 Well, this is a bit of a long video, isn't it? All these people, they talk about the rapture. What is rapture? Rap? You go, this rap music. Rap music, Yeah. Rap to re. Rap to re. What's a taco? What's a rap? It's a rap, yo, it's a rap. What does it mean when someone says that? They say it's a rap. Let's wrap this up. You better wrap up, man. Would you like some wrapping paper with it? Crash mask? This world is so insane. It's this video is just Grant venting more than anything else. It's offloading. Because no one can really, very few people could pay attention to what Grant is saying because it sounds so unbelievable. But it is the truth. It is the truth. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy listening to all these people. They're like, they're talking about, the Masoretic text, the KJV, King James Version onlyists, etc., etc. But there are differences between the Septuagint text and the Masoretic text. It seems that there are various differences. There are. Yeah, Grant learned the other day there's a Palmarian church in Spain. Wow, they sound totally crazy. Yeah. It's an interesting, because you have the first beast of Revelation, right? Has 7 heads and 10 horns. It rises up out of the sea. Well, in the Roman Catholic Church, you have the Holy See, which is like the jurisdiction of the Roman Catholic Church, or something like that. And isn't it interesting? So that first pope that they had was Pope Gregory the 17th. So what's 10 plus 7? 7 heads, 10 horns. 7 plus 10 is 17. Or maybe you could say the 7 heads have 10 horns each, and then you've got 70, which is the Septuagint is LXX, which is 70. They rounded it to 70 they called it, it's called 70 in Roman numerals, LXX. Anyway, this Pope Gregory the 17th, he was in a vehicle accident, and he lost both of his eyeballs. It's very interesting, that, isn't it? Because he, that's the thing, the beast is wounded by a sword. So one of the heads was wounded, as if wounded by a sword. Or something like that, isn't it? So, so yeah, it's how magic works. That's why strange things happen like that. Because the evil spirits that surround those people are influenced, it's all about stealing power from God. It's all about trying to create false gods. It's about stealing power. It's like it's trying to steal the light. It's trying to steal the light. We're living in the age of solar panels. Everyone wants to have solar panels and take power from the sun. Yeah. Let's get as much free power as we can. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's not. People go, it's a coincidence. And people think, all about global warming and whatever, and extreme weather. It's like it's unusually cold, or it's unusually hot, or it's unusually, too much rain, or there's flooding, or this, that, or the other. God influences the weather. God knows he can influence the weather. God has done it before. It's very, very massive thunderstorms, very scary thunderstorms, huge amounts of rain, earthquakes. Yeah, some real. Grant has triggered. See, Grant triggers things through magic. See, everything he does is magic. And he figured that he realizes when he watches what's on the news, what's going on in the world, and he can tell by how he's done something, and then he looks and he's like, oh wow, like Grant did this thing, and then it happened. It's like, whoa. And he can see the magical connection between the two things. That's how Grant knows he's God. It's a huge statement to make, isn't it? Yeah, Grant years ago, used to think, wow, I can't believe that. Grant used to tell himself that he couldn't, Grant couldn't believe it. Grant was like, what? That's blasphemy. But eventually got past that stage because eventually he just had to deal with it and be like, well, there's no other explanation. That's it. It's just how it is. You can't change it. It's just how it is. And the only way to deal with the horrible situation he finds himself in is to get on with it and deal with it as best as he can. That's it, really. Grant really wishes he had some alcohol right now. Doesn't have any. Well, there's some red wine in the kitchen. He's got a bottle of Toro. It's got a bull on it as well. A bottle of Toro red wine. But it's past its best, so needs to get pouring down the sink. Yeah. What else can we talk about? Is there anything else we'd like to talk about? Yeah, maybe. What else can we talk about? There are plenty of things Grant can talk about this as well. There's lots of things. He has to go through a list in his head and be like, yeah, I can't talk about that one. Can't talk about that one because what's the point? What is the point? Nobody, we could be here till the next. We could sit for a year talking about it, and people still be like, well, I'm not gonna. Yeah. Well, that's just how it is. Annoying. It's annoying being a complete loner and not have anybody who can understand. And everyone's like, you're crazy. And you're like, no. And Grant had to stop a few times. He had to think, yeah, perhaps that's true. But no, it's not true. It's Grant is God, and that is it. That's the only thing that makes sense. God, Grant knows it. Grant knows who he is. Grant knows he's extremely powerful. The book of Revelation, it talks about the two witnesses who have the power to shut the heavens, and fire goes out of their mouths, and it talks about them being in sackcloth. Well, a man, he has a sack. He has sackcloth. Yeah. If you know what Grant is saying. You have the one-eyed. People talk about the one-eyed monster. Yeah. Then you have the other, there's the third eye. Yeah. You got two witnesses. Yeah. And then they lie in the streets that are spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt. And then and after 3.5 days, they rise up, and their enemies were terrified, and God said, come up here. Two witnesses. Yeah. It's all magic. It all has to do with magic. It's understand once you know how it works, is once you understand the mechanisms of how it all works, it's just a case of looking for that lever to pull, and it's like, and then it triggers things. Things go crazy, things get wild, very wild, and that's how it is. Grant has been learning this stuff for years, and he's getting very close. Very close. So, what a crazy video, huh? It sounds totally crazy, but it's true. Alright, Grant's gonna roll another cigarette. Another thing that's really annoying is, you have right and left. What a confusing thing. What a confusing thing. Like, right means correct, or it means, in the direction of right. Oh, excuse me. And obviously to write, if you write with a pen, yeah, and you have left. So those who left God, yeah, yeah. So you go, I left, I right, yeah. It's evil magic, is what it is. See, that's the thing. God's power is what people desire. People desire it. They're like, they need it. They're, they can't help themselves. They want it, so they steal it. They do their best to steal it. There's that video with Christopher Walken, and it's from a film, and it's about the lion of the jungle, and he sits under a tree, and he talks about all he's just lying there, and he has the jackals and the hyenas, and they come over starting trouble with him, and the lioness, making trouble for him, and they eat the food that's in his domain, and then one day he just gets up and tears the shit out of everybody. That is what is happening. People don't recognize all the bad stuff that happens in the world. They don't understand that there's this magic war going on between people and God, and God's people. There are those who belong to God, and that's a few. That's a small number of people. The rest are just participating in the battle against God. They may be conscious of what they're doing, and most likely they're not. It's a difficult situation. So, it's going to be an interesting year, this one. The thing is, people think that the world is, it's alright, it's not that bad, Most people are pleasant and, you have all the celebrities, I mean, they're just rich and they're not that bad. Blah, 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 blah. The people who are very rich and powerful in this world are way more evil than you would believe, than you'd want to believe. Like, it's so horrific what they do. It is. It would give you nightmares if you really knew. People wouldn't be able to sleep at night if they knew. But that's the thing. Some people will do anything for power. They don't care about anybody except themselves. And that means if someone doesn't care about anybody apart from themselves, then what things are they capable of doing to other people, do you think? They'll do anything. Pretty much, yeah. Well, yeah. You better believe it. See, the thing is, they are used by Mary and the most evil ones, It's all about stealing as much of God's power as possible. And they think they are going to have everything they ever want in this life and the next. They think that. They think that they're on the winning team. They genuinely believe it. And, they think, they just look at they see peasants who are, the only thing they're good for is slavery and sacrifice, essentially. They just think, they think of themselves as gods. And they look down on everybody else like a bunch of stupid peasants, hand over your money, and, they'll have their slaves and their playthings. Yeah, they don't care. They do what they feel like doing. And they think they can get away with it. And they think that nobody, that's the thing, People, that's the thing. The richest, most powerful, you have the Freemasons, right? And people think, well, it's a secret society. Who cares? People don't want to do anything about it. People just, they just accept it and just don't care. Oh, they start to care when they've got no money left. When they haven't got a house to live in. When everything's, been flushed down the toilet. Yeah. Then they start to wonder. Then they start to say, oh, what happened? Why is everything so corrupt? It's funny, isn't it? Like, all these people, they're still going on about, oh, Trump's gonna save us. He waved a Bible one time. He said the word God. Wow, we better vote for him. Fucking idiots. So dumb. So gullible. How many people are so gullible? The politician in politics is just, don't waste your time. What a waste of time. Grant wasted a ton of time on politics years and years and years ago. Completely obsessed with politics. And all they do is lie. They're all on the same team. They just act. It's all about playing a role, playing a part, getting the money, getting the power, getting the influence, doing their work for the evil. Yeah, they just, that's all they're there for, to do evil works. That's it. And they'll lie straight to your face and tell you what you want to hear. And people fall for it. Yeah, again and 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 again. People seem to never, ever change. People just don't seem to ever open their eyes and be like, wow. Like, nothing ever changes. It's just, it's so easy to fool people. They basically give you two options. It's like, you can have this poison or you can have this poison. Which one do you want? This one's better than that poison. Better to have this one then, huh? It's crazy. It really is crazy. I mean, Grant bet that Donald Trump would win the election. Grant won £12,000. That's a lot. He bet £2,500 that Trump was going to win, and he got the crazy odds at the time because everyone. It was the same with Brexit. Grant bet on Brexit as well. Got about £6,000 on that one. And Grant doesn't normally place bets. Very rare. But he did back then because he wanted to put his money where his mouth was. He wanted to say to everyone, "Fuck you." Grant believes this, so Grant's going to put his money where his mouth is. And that's what he did. He made a lot of money. But Grant regrets. Well, yeah, it's what happened, but Hillary Clinton, one evil bitch. And Grant hates the European Union. Well, yeah. I mean, Grant doesn't want to be, Grant doesn't want his country in the European Union. And Grant would have really hated to see Hillary Clinton win the US election back in 2016. But Trump is, what has he done? He's a bootlicker of the Israelis, if you want to call them that. People still believe, they're God's chosen people, y'all. Better get your KJV. Better get down on your knees and kiss their boots. They're God's chosen people, y'all. Bunch of morons. Can't believe that. Grant can't believe that people still people believe that. So they're a bunch of Jesus haters, for a start. Just because a bunch of people claim to be Jews from the tribe of Judah, or claim to be Israeli, or Israel, or tribe of Israel, doesn't necessarily mean that they are. Just because someone makes a claim about something doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Yet, how many people believe it? How many people believe that? It's a very bad idea to believe the same as everybody else. It's a terrible disaster. Question everything is Grant's advice. Bit late in the day, though, to be honest. But it is what it is, right? I mean, think about it. You had Jesus. You go back 2,000 years. What happened? Well, you had, You had the Israelites. They vanished. Where the heck did they go? Where did they go? They just sort of just vanished into thin air. Yeah. How long have white people been on the face of the planet? If you go back and you look at, if you look at ancient Egypt, for instance, if you look at the earliest finds in Egypt, you see white people. Tutankhamun had his DNA tested. He was said to be very closely related to British people, strangely enough. And then obviously you had, the exile to Babylon. You had the Judahites and so on. They went to Babylon. They came back. You had the Edomites. You had Edom, like joining with Judah, and you had Judea, right, or something like it was something like that, wasn't it? Yeah. So you had a whole, a mixed bunch of peoples, right? I mean, it's like, you look at people migrating these days. You have people coming from the Middle East. They come to the United Kingdom, and then they say that they're English. It's like, well, yeah. Well, they may have a British passport, but there are some obvious, visible differences. It's like, well, English people used to be white people. British people used to be white people. Yeah. Well, just pointing it out, have a think for yourself, where do you think, I mean, if the Bible, if the stories that are in the Bible, the scriptures, the Old Testament, if you count the years and you count it backwards and you think, well, that would, the Garden of Eden story, that sort of takes you back about, 7,000-ish years, maybe, something like that. You look at Mesopotamia, you look at those regions, you think, have a look around for yourself. What does it say in the Bible? What does it say in the scriptures? What does it say? You have Laban. Laban means white, apparently. You've got many descriptions of, talking about Israelites, and, Nazarites, and, talking about them being white. White is considered the color, the color white is described as being pure. Yeah, I mean, not many people would like to hear that. A lot of people are, there are some people, they don't like the sound of that. They're like, if you said to them, all white is pure, they get a bit offended by that. Strange though, isn't it? Jesus says, what place does light have with darkness? Oh, it's a question. It's a question. It points to, the fact is that, if people, it's not, it's not to be hateful or anything. It's just simply pointing out, who are these people? We're living in a world that seems to want to do away with white people. Isn't that strange, huh? People be like, you can't be Jesus, you're white. You can't be, and you got all these people who want to say Jesus is a black man or Jesus is a brown man. Wouldn't it actually make more sense? I mean, look at what's happening to white people. White people were blessed, so many blessings, and what did they do? They shared it with the world. What did God say to the Israelites? He said that they would be a blessing to the world. Is that not exactly what white people do? Isn't that not exactly the story of white people? Seafarers, traveling the sea, building empires and spreading, many great things. Maybe not to everyone's liking in the way that they wanted it, but if a bunch of people are suffering, who should they talk to? Well, they should pray to God and say, God, help us. Shouldn't they? But the strange thing is most people hate God. Does God really care about, if people only hate him, then how is God going to, how would you expect God to keep blessing you if you hate him? Eventually he's going to say, well, take care of yourself then. Bye. Plain and simple, right? And that's what happened. That's the situation with the world, really, with the vast majority of people. Sad. It is sad. And it's the truth. Grant has faced a lot of life and a lot of hate in his life. People hating him for virtually no good reason ever. It's like, we don't like how you look, or the way you sound, or we think you're a dork, or you're a nerd, or you're not good looking enough, or we don't think you're cool enough, or whatever it is, right? Grants, or you're too posh, or you're too much of a chav. Every single thing. It doesn't matter. Everything Grant tries, it's never good enough. The only people he ever finds himself surrounded by are a bunch of people who are only trying to use him and take advantage of him, or it ends that way. And Grant learned people are not to be trusted. And that was a long time ago. Very long time ago. Well, yeah. Yeah, it was. Spent a lot of time on his own. So much time, in fact, that most people would have got rid of themselves by now. Most people would have just had enough a long time ago. They would have been like, no, can't take this anymore. It's been a rough journey. Oof. It has. It really has. I mean, imagine being left in a cage and having the keys thrown away, and then left there to rot for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. It's kind of what people deserve, though. It's what they've done to God. It's what people have done to God. And people, when it happens to them, they're not gonna, what are they gonna say? They're gonna say to God, well, this is unfair. And it's like, well, no, that's what you did to God. So you're just getting back what you deserve. You're just getting in return what you gave to God, essentially. So, shush. Yeah, that's pretty much, that's sort of how it goes. That's how it goes. People think that having their backs turned to God is not that bad. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because when Jesus was crucified, he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And we are living in the age of everyone trying to bind God, to steal what belongs to God. Yeah. Yeah. It's so obvious. You look at the world, it's full of so much evil. People are so arrogant and big-headed and full of themselves. And what does it lead to? Destruction. You know, society is just a complete shambles. I mean, people are just destroying one another with their reckless behavior. Reckless. Yeah. Well, it's very bad. It's very bad. And, it's like, you think how many women get pregnant just so they can get government housing, and then raise their kids who, they can barely feed them, to send them to a state school that's free. And, it's a very poor effort on their part. And why did they do it in the first place? Well, they just wanted free housing. They didn't want to work, or, Well, yeah, isn't it interesting, women have to work these days, and men, what the heck did men, where did they go wrong? Where did they go wrong, do you think? Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, people turn away from God. And all the blessings that people had, gone. Vanishing. Bit by bit. Everything's falling apart. And everyone knows it. You think how many people they know that everything is looking terrible. How many people think this world is in a dire state? And people are constantly arguing with one another about it. But instead of arguing with one another about it, why not turn to God before it's too late? But they choose not to. They choose to do their own thing. And how's that working exactly? Yeah, no, it's not good, is it? It's very bad. And that's the truth. Yeah. Well, Grant has work to do. Oh yeah, isn't it interesting? Yeah. So everyone people worship God on Sunday. So, Jesus said that He is the light of the world. He is the sun. And so His day of rest is on Sunday. Hey, Jesus, have a rest. You don't need to be a slave. Isn't it interesting? It is strange, though, isn't it? Very strange. I mean, people. Grant can forgive people for, things that are not their fault. Yeah. Or, things that, there are things that Grant can forgive, right? But those who are evil will be dealt with. Yeah. It's all about intention. Do you love God or not? If you truly love God, then your intentions will be good. Plain and simple. If you don't love God, your actions and your words and everything you do will reflect that fact. It's all about intention. Really. So, any other things Grant would like to talk about before he goes? Oh, wow. That's really interesting, actually. Um, there's a YouTube channel, and it's called Torch of Christ Ministries. Not a huge fan of Philip Blair, the Blair Witch Project. Yeah, he's anyway. But very interesting. He did a trip to Haiti, and he went to the City de Soleil, the city of the sun, and the village of gods, where all the gangsters are, and he's just surrounded by, and he's got a food truck with, and he's just getting chased down the streets, and they're raiding the food truck, and just trying to, very lucky to, and he even went to prison cells as well to donate food. Very interesting to watch, but an interesting watch for sure. But he's had a lot of bad luck since he's come back. Since he's had all kinds of problems. He thinks it's like bad witchcraft on him and stuff like that. So well, that's the thing, when bad things start happening like that, sometimes it's a good sign. Sometimes it can be a good sign that you're on the right path. Grant knows. Well, that's the thing. The evil spirits, when you start making problems for them, they'll come after you. They really will. Terrifying things happen. It could be very terrifying. Some of the things that can happen. Especially if you're not expecting it. If you don't expect it, then yeah, you'll absolutely crap your pants. What the things that can happen. It's anyway. Oh, watch his videos, see what they're like. Interesting videos. I mean, it's better than watching the rest of the crap, which is on how much crap on YouTube, on the internet. It's just endless amounts of crap to watch. At least his Haiti videos are kind of interesting, so kind of worth a watch. Yeah. It's interesting, the UK Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. What's a Sunak? Sunak? Snake? It's interesting. Earlier on, Grant was, he got a food delivery, and he left some of it on the kitchen floor, and he accidentally stood on one of his snacks. It's like, whoops, sorry about that, snack. Sorry about that, you little snack. I stood on you. And I ate it. Well. And then Grant ate it. Yeah. You know what he's saying? Why do people snack all the time? Here, have a snack. Here, have a snack. Eat this forbidden fruit. It's a snack. Eat the snack. What's a snack? A slippery little snack. You want a snack? How was that a coincidence, do you think? What person who was designing the English language thought, hey, you know what? Why don't we have the word snake and the word snack almost identical. Like, if you didn't know how to speak English, and you could basically you could pronounce them exactly the same and be like snack, snacky. Is that a coincidence, do you think? Really? How many other coincidences do you think there are exactly? Fucking idiot. It's everywhere. Everywhere. It really is. It's all over the place. That's where the magic happens. Freemasons, they know. Serious Freemasons. Witches, they use it to their advantage. It is what it is. Well, it's a long video. It's interesting. You have the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Grant's biological dad was called Charlie. Charles. Interesting because Grant also shares the same birthday as King Charles III. King Charles III, who's dying of cancer. Yeah. Strange that he got cancer right after Grant bought this rainbow chemotherapy hat. Oh, and Kate Middleton as well. It's very interesting, that, isn't it? Oh, Grant's biological mother, Fiona Fee, she died of cancer too. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Grant seems to be killing it. Well, it's not like he does it intentionally. It's not like he does it intentionally. It's more of, Grant's trying to be himself, and the evil ones have to try to be in my energy. So if Grant starts wearing a chemotherapy hat, well, people get cancer. Because they don't love God. And if they don't love God, they are trying to be God. It's a street that you can go in one direction or the other direction. There really is no other direction. It's one way or the other way. You're either heading towards loving God because you love God, or you're going in the direction of hate. It's really one way or the other. You can decide to change. You can decide to get in, turn around. But will people do that? That's another question. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Grant knows this stuff. Yeah. There was another thing. Grant never ever drinks. What is it? Kombucha. Yeah. He was just shopping in the supermarket and he saw the kombucha drinks and he was like, apparently that's good for gut health. I thought, I'll get a bottle or two of that. Comes home, drinks it, leaves it in the corner of the kitchen for the recycling, turns on the television the next day and sees all these people in Ukraine who've had their hands tied behind their backs and executed in a town called Bucha. Yeah, and thinking, whoa, why did that happen? You know, the day that Queen Elizabeth II died, Grant was trashing lots of artwork in his house. He went on an art destroying spree. All of his biological mother's old paintings, he just started pulling them off the walls, putting his foot through them, and there was this loud crack of thunder. He remembers it very clearly. And then he went back to his computer and looked to the news. Guess what? Dead Queen. Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is. It doesn't matter if people believe me or not. It doesn't matter. Well, it does for them. But ultimately, you know, if people don't believe me, well, you can still. If people don't believe Grant is God, if people don't, yeah, it does not make a difference. Grant is still God at the end of the day. He's still God. Nothing changes that. No matter how hard you try to believe otherwise, it doesn't change anything. Grant's gonna upload this video. Chances are nobody will watch it. But after Grant is, sometime in the future, when the world has to open their eyes, when people have to turn around and see that God is here, waiting for the world to turn around and pay attention to him. Yeah, then they can watch this video and they'll be like, oh yeah, you did try to warn everybody. You did try to reach out to a bunch of people that had no interest in listening to you. Yeah. Does Grant care? Why bother? Why get stressed about it? Grant's been trying for years to get through to people, and he's caused a lot of chaos and drama. And what good came from it? Yeah. The world doesn't want to listen to me. Plain and simple. But people will suffer. It's just how it has to go. People will have to suffer as a result of their bad ways. God said, Jesus told y'all, but y'all didn't want to listen, y'all. I mean, some people do. That's a very small number, though, who really, there's a lot of people who are in churches who really, they don't really, appearances can be deceiving. Let's put it that way. So that's another thing, you have the crypts under churches and stuff like that. Like, what is all that about? It's crazy. Like seeing chapels of dead skeletons and bones and real creepy stuff. It's people don't really understand that it's witchcraft. It's a type of witchcraft. It's a type of magic. And Grant still has to figure out all the implications of that magic, It takes time to completely figure it all out. And that's the thing. It's a terrible situation. Grant thinks it's not a good thing. really not a good thing. That's another person Grant's been thinking about a lot lately. Candace Owens. Yeah, she's an interesting person, isn't she? Candace Owens. So she's supposed to be. She's she's a Trump supporter. She's a political commentator. Grant got bored of that stuff ages ago, but he was listening to her. So she's a very she likes Trump. She seems she affiliates herself with people like Kanye West. Ugh. That guy's evil. People don't know how evil, like really evil, like super evil, super duper, just crazy evil. But people just see the bits that they want to see about him. And they're like, yeah, he's just, he's just a clown. He raps. But anyway, Candace Owens. So Candace, the name Candace means white and pure, and Queen Mother apparently is like an Ethiopian origin, and it also has the meaning Queen Mother. So isn't it interesting? So she's a black woman who dresses herself up, wearing, you've seen her with Kanye West wearing the White Lives Matter t-shirts. And her name literally means white. It's interesting, isn't it? It's curious, isn't it? It's like, it's bizarre. It is kind of bizarre, isn't it? Her name literally means white. So when she says White Lives Matter, does she mean white people, or does she mean herself? Maybe she thinks that she means white people, but in reality, she's not conscious of where her intentions are set. Really, maybe if her intentions are very selfish. Well, let's look at her lifestyle. She's worth millions of dollars. She marries a guy called George, which is a dodgy name because of where God lives. He lives in a place called St. George's. Yeah. So George, who's George? St. George, who's this patron saint of the country Grant lives in. Yeah. So, she's supposed to be Christian, and she's married a guy called George. Farmer. Yeah, what's a farmer? What does a farmer do? Yeah. Yeah. She's got an interesting middle name as well. So, Candace Amber Owens. Yeah. What's in the middle in amber? Yellow. You have there's that wine. There's that wine. Yellowtail. You seen that one? It's Australian. Down south, down under. Yeah. So anyway, Candace Amber Owens. Oh, there's Amber Rose. Yeah. Amber Heard. Sounds kind of like her, doesn't it? Yeah. Weird, huh? But anyway, Candace Amber Owens Farmer. Because she's married to George Farmer, that guy's worth £150 million or something. The son of Lord Michael Farmer from the House of Lords. The House of Lords. How interesting, huh? You see, God can see with his two eyeballs the witchcraft being done. He's not stupid. He knows. So, whether she has any Freemason, whether she is a Freemason and she's just keeping that very quiet, perhaps. But she doesn't have to be. See, in her heart, if she doesn't truly love God, then her actions, her words, she's just going in the direction of evil. She's surrounded by foul spirits. So she married a guy. She knew him for 2.5 weeks, got married. He's filthy rich. Yeah. So obviously, she's her, she loves money. She loves money. And then he's like, he wants to be a Catholic. So, he wants to worship Mary. Which is interesting, yeah. It's an interesting reflection as well, because, it talks about the whore of Babylon. She's like the queen who sits on the throne and pretends that her husband isn't dead. Yeah, it's interesting that. And so you have the political commentator who's married a man who doesn't want to, sit, he likes to stay in the shadows, right? And he's decided to go be a Mary worshipper. It's an interesting story. Brad just thought he would mention it. Oh yeah, and there's that Charlie Kirk guy. I mean, what a bootlicker, huh? He loves to, Israel, the Jews. Yeah. They're God's chosen people. They can take any land they want. That's okay, the Bible said so. Blah, 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 blah. It's okay, they can run the porn industry and the media and politics and usury and whatever. It's okay, because they're God's chosen people, y'all. Get down on your knees, y'all, and lick them boots. Blah, 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 blah. People really made a huge mistake a long time ago. Mistake. Isn't it strange though, like the most worshipped person in the world seems to be Mary. There's something about Mary. Yeah. But nobody wants to know about it. Yeah. Well, people have to accept what's going to happen. God's going to be angry at people. People behaving like whores. Greedy, evil, whores. Evil. It's just evil. Evil. Wow. There's nothing just about them being evil. They are evil. Plain and simple. It is what, yeah. You get the point. God can do whatever he wants to do. God will look after those who love him. Anybody who wants to criticize God because of what he does or what he says, what he looks like, how he conducts himself, they have They don't have. They're you know, they fell through the ice. Yeah. They're going into the cold depths. God doesn't care. Plain and simple. Yeah, there you go. Let's not. God doesn't owe those people anything. Nothing. God died. God did many, many, many things for those people. And all they had to do was love Him. All they had to do was love God. To the best of their ability. You know? Well, yeah. When you love someone, you do. You know, when you genuinely love somebody, you make an effort. You know, that's part of love. That's how love works. Yeah, it's not, you say, you know, you can't just say to someone that you love them and then treat them like you don't. It doesn't make it, you know, it's a word, you know, if people say it without really meaning it doesn't count. So. You know, God doesn't want to be horribly strict with people. Grant doesn't know. Grant has gone out of his way to forgive people, be nice to people, get people to like him. You know, Grant's not the kind of person who goes around trying to beat people into submission or make people feel bad. You know, or really. You know, that's not how Grant ever. You know, Grant was normally a kind, loving, polite guy. He liked to mess around a bit. Yeah. He was never trying to be nasty to anybody. You know, Grant had good nature about it. Grant knows that. Grant didn't do everything perfectly. You know, Grant wasn't. Yeah, Grant was probably a bit. Yeah, Grant didn't always do things perfectly. Grant does have a few regrets, perhaps, but whatever. I mean, the thing is, Grant has done things in his life he's not entirely proud of, but then he thinks about the people he did it to, and he's like, well, he's God, and Grant's God, and Grant actually just did something to a bunch of people who probably deserved it anyway. But as much as that sounds bad, that's just genuinely what happened. You know, Grant doesn't like hurting people's feelings. You know, Grant doesn't enjoy watching people hurt. You know? But he lives in a world where, you know, it seems it's the complete opposite. People treat him, you know, in such a bad way. And eventually, you know, that's the thing. Grant's had enough. There's a point, you know, Grant reached that breaking point a long time ago. And people have to be dealt with. People have to well, people know. People should know. Well, tell me, who in this world, genuinely, how many people really don't know? Yeah, maybe children. Children wouldn't know. Adults, people above a certain age, everyone should know, really. You know, the vast majority of human beings are aware that who Jesus is, who God is. Well, they've been told enough. And they've had enough time. The sick, evil world needs to be dealt with very soon. And those who love God, yeah, Grant doesn't want to, Grant doesn't want to see them suffer. Those who genuinely love Grant, Grant wishes them well. It's a small, it's not many people. It's a very small number. It would seem. Grant doesn't have an exact number, but yeah. What happens? Well, have to wait and see again. Grant will have to wait and see what happens. Wow, this has been a long video. Oh, it's daylight. The sun is rising. The sun is rising. It's Sunday. Every day is Sunday, isn't it? Oh no, that's only the 7th day of the week. Every other day is pitch black. Pitch black. It's strange that, isn't it? Strange that, isn't it? I mean, it's strange because people could have. They called Sunday Sunday. They didn't spell it S-O-N day. They called it S-U-N day. I mean, that's the thing, right? Jesus said, the eyes are the lamps of the body. And he also said, well, he spoke it in Greek, but in the English translations, it says, the eyes are the lamps of the body. And eye, which is, I, or I. Well, that's the thing. The English language has been skewed, it's because of evil spirits conspiring, designing, getting human beings to do their nonsense. I am the light of the world. And then everyone seems to be fixated on the third eye. They're like, what? That's amazing. And that's the thing, So, the iron rod that's used to rule the nations. Well, you look at the periodic table. Periodic table. What's the... So, iron is Fe. Phi. Grant's mother was called Phi. Yeah? Phi. That's another thing, the mark of the beast. Everyone receives that mark No one can buy or sell without that mark of the beast. Fee. That's another one. Fee. Yeah. So the rod of iron. So the rod of fee. Feces. Feces. So Grant goes to take a crap. And he flushes it. Where does it go? It goes to the sea. Feces. What does it mean to seize? To take. And then, steel. What's steel? Well, it's made of iron, isn't it? It's an alloy, which mainly consists of iron. Steel. Steel. Feces. It's all shit butt magic. It's shit and butt magic. This world is all about shit and butt magic. It's ridiculous. It sounds totally insane, but it really is true. It really is. Nobody would have guessed, right? Well, some people know it. Some people understand it. But it's true. It's crazy. When Grant started figuring this stuff out, he was like, what? This is some weird shit, yo. Like, really? Seriously? Have you ever heard of kappas? Kappas, so in Japan, there's this mythological creature, and it's called a kappa. and and what it does is it kind of looks like a lizard frog thing or toad or something. I don't know. It's a weird. Yeah, they look different. They don't all look the same. But these kappas, they do like weird butt poses and stuff like that, and they do lots of weird anal things. And there's a bull, so what they do with humans is they suck out a ball which is in the anus. What was it called again? There was a name for it, but there's this special bull which isn't located in the anus, and it's supposed to contain the soul. A soul? And so they suck it out and they consume it and they take the human soul. That is a part of Japanese mythology. Yeah. Japanese have got a lot of evil stuff going on over there. Very evil stuff. Everyone's obsessed with Japanese culture and manga, anime. They're controlled by. They all worship. They're Mary worshippers, whether they know it or not. They're part of. They are on that side. Most of them. Look at their flag. It's the sun. Yeah. They call it the House of the Rising Sun. Re-sing sun. Yeah. It's witchcraft. Yeah. It's, well, think about it. God said, don't worship the stars, the moon, the sun, the celestial, the yeah, what, the sun that's in the sky, that, yeah, you're not, you're not supposed to worship that stuff. Also, you're not supposed to be doing artwork of what's, above, in the skies, or under the ground, or what's in heaven. And you think, how many people have, what was it, Dante? Dante, yeah. And you think about how many artists have done art of what's in heaven. Wasn't it Dante who had like the 7 layers of heaven or something? Saying what's on each layer of heaven. Talking about the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and describing in detail what is in every layer of heaven. And there are people who do that and claim to be Christians, followers of Jesus. They don't really, that thing they did was very evil. It's very evil doing that. That's a very, that is called attacking God. That is going to war. That doing that sort of thing is, it's choosing to have a battle with God. That's what it is. People don't understand that art, the things they say, the things they write, the artwork they do, whether it's music, paintings, computer games, people don't really understand. Most people don't know what they're doing, but they're playing with fire. And God did warn. God did warn to stay away from things. I mean, the thing is, you think how many children are born, and they're given idols, they're given toys, they're given computer games, all that stuff. I think God can't, God has to, God forget, God doesn't hold, if people, people can't, children are children, but people do terrible things. And think about it, living in the age of adults who behave like children, how many adults these days still want to be, they still want to collect Pokemon figurines, and they still want to, watch cartoons, and, watch My Little Pony, or whatever, watching, how many people, play computer games, adult men who are in their 30s and 40s, all they do is play computer games all day long. It's like all these people, nobody wants to grow up. It all has to do with God being here. God is here. And the world is gone completely, well, that's the thing. God is in the world. God affects everything that's in the world. And so everyone behaves very strangely while God is here. That's what's happened. Yeah, Grant was 8 years old when his mother told him that she wanted to be gay. That was 28 years ago. Back then, everyone at school used to go, "Gay Lord, gay Lord, gay Lord," all the time. And Grant's mother said to him, "Don't tell your friends at school because they'll make fun of you." And Grant didn't bother to tell anybody at school because he knew that was what would happen. Strangely. But in that time, the world has the country's totally changed. I mean, think about it. God said to Noah that in the end times, well, he said that there would never be another world, a flood to kill all life again. That there would not be another flood to kill all life. Don't quote the exact wording, but that there would be a bow in the sky. A bow in the sky, where you have rainbow. Rainbow? Isn't it interesting that the LGBT, that's not very interesting. So L means God. L is the word for God. It is a word for God. So you have Elohim and L. L-E-L means God. L-G-B-T. GBT. What GB can stand for? Great Britain. Why would the LGBT community, why would people try to take this? God made the rainbow. Gay people didn't make the rainbow. Okay. God made the rainbow. The rainbow is God's invention. What is a rainbow? It's the light that's been split. When the light is split, you get a rainbow. Yeah? So that's essentially what's happening in the world. You have all these people trying to nick they all want to steal a bit of a light for themselves. They'll have a bit of this and have a bit of that. Oh, look, I seem to have so much more influence now. Ugh. I feel so magical. That's what people do. People, yeah. Sorry, Grant didn't mean to use the word I. But that's what people do. People, that's what they do. They pull on God's power, and it gives them more influence, more success, more power. And the most powerful people in this world, well, they are not as powerful as Grant. Who is God? But those people pull on Grant's power in order to it's just what they do because they're evil. So, yeah. Candace Owens, she's a very pretty lady, isn't she? There was a time where, Grant, he didn't really, he he used to fancy white women mostly, but there are some black women. Yeah. Well, it's quite a lot actually. Grant is see when he found out that Ehyeh Dana Hamilton was Mary, yeah, he just started looking at black women completely different. Yeah, yeah, weird. Anyway, it's a funny story. Funny story. But that's the thing, you know. Grant hasn't had a girlfriend for more than 10 years. That bitch. Oh. Grant used to live with a bitch. Yeah. 1 year. Then he said, "You better go, 'cause you're a crazy bitch. Bye." Even let her hang around for a while until she managed to sort another place. And even when she got another place, she still kept coming around. Yeah. It was strange. It was about, yeah. Evil witch. Very evil witch. Yeah. But let's not talk about it. That was a long time ago. Yeah, Grant has been single for 10 years at least. The years have just flown by. Just gone. But that's the thing, you know, Grant wants to. Grant knows things will get better. Grant isn't going to be sat alone forever. It's just a matter of time. Matter. It's only a matter of time. Matter. What's the matter? Who is matter? Mother. Matter. Mother. Latin. Mater. Mother Earth. Yeah, shit. Soil. There's if you ever heard, what's that guy's name? Sadhguru. Oh yeah, Sadhguru. Yeah. And he's got a song. It's about save the soil, and it goes something like la 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 la. Yeah. And he has a video, and it's like, and he talks about the cow milk, and all these people that they all want to talk about the milk, but it is the dung. It's just the dung that is so precious. He's like obsessed with cow shit. Isn't that it? Well, Grant's seen videos of Hindus bathing in big vats of cow shit. Yeah. Bathing in it, like, oh yeah. Floating in the cow dung, the liquid cow dung. Yeah. Yeah. Burger pat. What's a patty? Cow pat. Burger pat. Cow shit. Weird, huh? Yeah. God said, "The ground is cursed for thy sake." The ground is literally cursed. The ground is cursed. It is. It's where the evil, that's why Jesus fasted. Yeah, he had to fast. The fasting helps to, yeah, demons are in the shit. Isn't that interesting? You're in deep shit. Demons are in the shit. Seen the film Dogma? And there's the big shit demon. Shit demons. It's real. Yeah, the ground is cursed. Isn't it interesting though? So now we live in the age of fast food. Weird, huh? Makes fasting all that more interesting. Bunch of witches. Got to make everything so complicated. Grant doesn't have time to think about every bit of witchcraft that's ever been done against him. Just, Grant could sit here forever trying to figure out every little thing. He just focuses on the most important stuff. The things that are really going to fix the situation. Grant could do a fast anyway, but yeah, maybe for a week or two. Just for the sake of health more than anything else. But whether that's essential or not, guess Grant will find out. Yikes. It's almost breakfast time. It's almost time to break that fast. Breakfast time. Yeah. Karen has so much to do. You better go.